I'm gonna edit you shaking your butt.
Okay, seriously, what you got
in the video. Hey guys, so for today's video, I am going to be doing a really fun, really different, like DIY style kind of video. So it's always super highly requested that I do videos that are more book related, and though I do some like bibliophile playlist books on my second channel where I like talk about what I'm reading lately or things like that, I decided to do like a DIY style / tips on how to enjoy reading video on this channel for those of you that might be interested in this kind of stuff. I don't know, this is the kind of stuff that I'm into, so I figured I would somehow incorporate it into my main channel. And I'm also going to tell you guys or release my 2016 reading list for the year, so I will leave a link to that down below. So to begin, let's start with doing the DIYs. So I actually picked up this little day bed from Yisk, but you could use floor pillows, you could get really creative than this and use bean bags or just use some cushions that you put on the floor. So I was really lucky to find this, but you could really try and find anything that's just like cushiony for you to sit on and then just pop that in a corner, or again you could use bean bags. So then I decided to grab these little boxes, but again you can get so creative with making these little DIY nooks, and I do like recommend looking these up on Pinterest and stuff, but you could use bookshelves on either side, but I decided to go with these because they're really, really good for storage, and they're kind of like two little night tables for my little nook. And then I grabbed this little canvas, but again, you could do DIY wall art, you could get so fun and creative. And then I am obsessed with having a bunch of pillows and like blankets when I'm cuddled up and reading, so I definitely needed a lot of pillows and blankets, and I threw those on as well, and Bentley liked to claim this spot. I think he thought it was like his new bed or something. But then on each side I'm just like popping a candle and a couple books, making it a little bit more cozy and a little bit more decorated for when I decide to sit and read. And then of course, what is a reading nook without cozy lighting? So that was just the easy little DIY reading nook that I made in my office, but again you could do so many creative different things with this. And then as for just a couple other DIYs, I decided to make some DIY bookmarks. So I made these on PicMonkey, and I'll leave exact descriptions in the description box on how I did it, but I'm just using an X-Acto knife and a ruler to cut out. But again, you can use scissors, you can really simplify this and make it like lazy girl edition if you need to. And then I'm just taking some cardstock and some packing tape, and I'm going to laminate it myself just with the tape, and just make sure you put a lot of excess tape on either side. And then again, just taking the ruler, I'm going to mark out even margins on each side of the bookmark and go ahead and cut it out. We gotta lose it. And then I was sure to print doubles of each picture, so I'm just doing the exact same thing to the other side and using excess tape on each side, and then just cutting off the excess tape. And then you have your little bookmark, so you can just stop there, but I decided to go ahead and take a hole punch and some yarn and create just a little bit of like a dangle. I don't even know what to call this, but like a yarn dangly thing from the hole punch. That is like the worst description ever, but you guys know what I'm trying to say. Give yourself a moment, let your body be. Down, down, we let it go. Down, down, we let it go. Down, down, we let it go. And so that is all you have to do to make your own DIY bookmark. Now you can get really creative with this and come up with all different designs and quotes, and I even put a quote from my upcoming ebook on the one you're looking at right now. The colorful pink one has a quote from one of the main characters. But yes, so this is so easy to do and just so creative, and yeah, you can make a whole bunch and give them out as gifts for Christmas or for friends or just for yourself. So now that you guys know how to make the really fun DIY bookmarks, I decided to show you guys how to make some fun DIY mugs as well. So what is reading without like a good cup of tea or coffee? So I actually got these specific markers from Michaels. They were a little bit more on the pricey side, but they are the ones that you can use on glass without them washing off in the dishwasher. So on the first one, I decided to just do a little deer like silhouette and then write, "Oh my dear, I love you," and then just draw some little evergreen trees on the other side. So this was just a fun little one that I thought would be really cute, and I really like it. But if you wanted to stick with the book theme, you could really do anything with this, but I decided to go with Harry Potter, a good old classic. So I'm just drawing the Harry Potter glasses and then just drawing like a little scar and Harry, you're a wizard, or you're a wizard, or whatever, just writing a little Harry Potter quote. And these are really awesome because you don't have to bake them or anything. They just, once they're dry, they are on that mug for good. So try not to mess up when you're designing your mugs. And that is all you have to do to get the perfect mug, the perfect bookmark, and the perfect little reading area in your room or house. So, now that the DIY portion is over, I'm going to share with you guys just some tips and tricks on how to enjoy reading if you're someone that normally can't stick to reading. Now, I feel like there's definitely like some people that could just get super into books and read all the time, and then there's other people that just kind of struggle to be able to sit down and read books. Maybe it just be that their life is really busy. I can be one or the other. Sometimes I'm super into a book and I can never put it down, and then other times I'm like struggling or forcing myself to finish a book. So I'm going to share with you guys some tips that have helped me kind of force myself to read and get into reading, as well as just tips that will help in general if you're someone that normally doesn't read at all. So my first tip is to set aside like 15 to 30 minutes a day, or maybe every other day, to read. And this could be right before bed. This could be first thing in the morning, whether you have to get up 15 to 30 minutes early or just stay up 30 minutes later than you normally do. It's really not that much time. And right before bed is a really good time because reading can kind of make you a little bit tired. So when you're reading, then you're like, okay, I got through this chapter and now I'm going to go to bed. And you slowly just work away at the book that you're reading, or whatever book that you're reading, by just setting aside like 15 to 20 minutes. And I actually write this down in my agenda. Days where I'm like, okay, I need to read. So I'll write down like, this day I'm going to read 20 minutes. This day I'm going to read 30 minutes. And sometimes I won't write that down if it's going to be a super busy day. And on the topic of setting aside a time, set aside some space. So obviously with the DIY reading nook that I'm sitting in right now, you can find a little corner in your house, or even if it's just a specific chair or anywhere. It could be, you could read in your car. Everybody can have like a spot, and if you have like a specific spot where you sit down and read, that's just like your you time, your cozy time, your comfy time. So with making like a little reading nook like this, or maybe it's just a specific chair in your house, or maybe it's in your bed, wherever it is, designate like a spot to reading, and then when you go there, you're just like, you're all ready, you're cozy, you're all bundled up, and you've got your book and you're ready to read. So my next tip is to find a book that you know you're going to enjoy, and that's kind of like pretty blatantly obvious, but I just mean if you are really struggling to get through books, then ask yourself, what was the last book you remember reading where you were like, I could not put that book down? And then find similar books to it, and then odds are you'll probably want to read those types of books more. So for me, it's like, I like dystopian books, and I also like spiritual sort of books, like The Four Agreements or The Law of Attraction, things like those. Those are the types of books that I cannot put those types of books down. So I know those are like my two favorite genres, so when I find anything that is like recommended from you reading those or related to those, then I will usually probably just trust that I'm gonna love it and get it, and then I usually read those kinds of books. So you don't know how to find like recommendations based on what you've read in the past. I suggest trying like a website like Goodreads. I have a Goodreads account, so if you guys want to follow me, you can. But you can like write in and put in the books that you've read before in the past, and you can rate them, and based on that it will give you book suggestions on similar ones to the highest ones that you've rated, or ones that you seem to have liked. It'll give you other suggestions related to those books. My next tip might not be for everybody, but it is definitely for me in the sense of making a reading list, and this is something that you can do so easily. I like to do it on the computer so that I can swap around. Like if I really end up enjoying a book and I want to read the second and third, I can push my list down and add those books in. But I love having a reading list because every time I finish a book, it's so satisfying to cross it off a list. It's like to-do lists for me. I get so much satisfaction out of doing that. If you make like a full list, whether it be for the month, for the year, or whatever, you're gonna get so much more into reading because it's just so fun scratching it off. And if you are reading a book and you're struggling to get through it, something that I find definitely helps me is looking up the audiobook. So there's most books you can find, like most bigger books, you can find audiobooks for free on YouTube. There's a lot of people that'll do like their own voiceover, or they will have like free audiobooks just online. So you can look online or on YouTube, and sometimes if I'm really struggling to read a book or I'm really tired, if I have the audiobook going in the background, it's a lot easier to follow along. And I don't really see that as cheating. I think it makes it a lot easier, and sometimes just more fun if it's a really, really dry book, or I'm really struggling to read through it. So try audiobooks, or if you just don't really ever enjoy reading that much, you could just try audiobooks every single time and follow along with the audiobook, and it makes it a lot more easy to kind of stick along and like keep your mind from like racing onto other thoughts when you're hearing it at the same time as you're reading it in your head, if that makes any sense. Another thing that I do is I make myself these like bibliophile reading playlists, and I will leave them down below. I have them on 8Tracks, but having like some soft music or like a playlist in the background and a cup of tea, like just getting yourself kind of put together to get cozy and just relax and read, like getting in that mindset. So whether it's brewing a cup of like peppermint tea or putting on some soft music, or both, like bring a little mug into your reading nook and put on some music and just sit down and read, and like getting into that kind of mindset, having this little routine right before you start to read can also help you, you know, get more excited about it, just get more like cozy, and it also just makes reading so much more fun. And then my last and final tip to like learn how to enjoy reading more, or if you want to start reading more, is to find books that are comparative to your life. So if you might have to do some research on this, but look up books that might have like a similar storyline to something you might be struggling with in life right now, whether that be like things like anxiety, or you could look up books that have like a similar love story to yours, or things like that, that when you're reading them, like you almost relate with that character, you resonate with that character and what they're going through, you almost have gone through in your own way. And I find when you read books like that, you're more prone to like continue to read because you want to know how this character dealt with something that you're almost kind of dealing with yourself. So those are my tips on how to enjoy reading more and some really fun reading DIYs. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down below if you guys want more videos like this. And other than that, I will see you guys all in a future video. Bye guys!
Into the dark, I found by the lake. We were so close, I could